Quantum Leap just aired its mid-season finale, and boy was it something. The writers really weren't holding back this one. They chose to answer the fandom's most burning questions in the finale, only to go on a hiatus. If you ask us, that's not very nice of them, considering all the confusion they've created. Join us as we discuss the mid-season finale's ending and the original show's oldest mystery that's seemingly just been answered. First, details about the mid-season finale. Fans have spent a good amount of time wondering why Dr. Ben's song followed in Sam Beckett's footsteps. Previously, Dr. Sam would time travel to correct mistakes and prevent tragedies, but it's a different story with the relaunch. Even though Dr. Ben leaped, it's clear that he's not doing it for the same reasons. In the mid-season finale, Sam's predecessor is busy saving a group of teenagers who will die of exposure after fleeing a barbaric camp. The finale follows the usual battle between Ben and history as he struggles to find a way. Somewhere along the way, he realizes that he has more to accomplish than what the supercomputer Ziggy predicted. However, more importantly, there's some moments of friendship that stirs Ben's memories, and we get the front seat to some of Ben's more personal moments. Next, what is Ben's mission about? At first, Ben's decision made no sense to anyone. He celebrated his engagement to Addison, and the next thing you know, he was off leaping through history. It was odd at best. However, as we said, the finale gave something to fans who had been scratching their heads for a long time. Ben's entire reason to go on this time-leaping adventure was to, drumroll, save the woman he loves. The finale had a flashback scene where Ben was the instigator of the deceit, and not Janice Calavici. What's more, in a shocking turn of events, fans found out that Ben recruited Janice. The only reason Janice is involved is that she believes she has no choice. From this, we know two things. One, Ben has knowledge of the future and that Janice is somehow involved in an unknown coming tragedy. In episode 5, we saw Ben pursue a leaper by the name of Martinez. The running theory is that Ben somehow became aware of the future when he ran into Martinez on one of his leaps, and since then he's been doing everything in his power to try to change the timeline. From what we know, we think the tragedy might involve Addison and Janice, the daughter of Al from the original team. Next, Ben is focused on changing the future, not the past. Let's get one thing straight. Ben is completely focused on the future. Of course, that goes against one of the show's most important roles. From what we know from episode 6, Ben is trying to get to the future. Apparently, Ben has figured out a way to build up a sort of temporal momentum through a series of leaps. This way, he's able to break the previous limits of time travel. Ian Wright, the project team's main programmer, compared it to a slingshot effect, like how a spacecraft builds up momentum by using the gravity of an astrological body. With that said, it makes a whole lot of sense why Ben is keeping his real mission private. You've all heard of the butterfly effect, right? Yeah, well, that's the reason Ben is not stepping out of bounds. That and the fact that supercomputer Ziggy is monitoring the ripple effect of a leaper's presence. With that said, there's a huge burden on Ben's shoulders. He has to make sure not to make too many changes to the timeline to make sure that he reaches the right moment for his mission. Coming up, the mid-season finale answers other questions as well. That's not the only mystery the mid-season finale solved for us. Many were wondering about the show's changed format. And well, now that we have their answer, fans had noticed that the show was focusing more on the present as opposed to the past, which is not the usual way the show does things. However, if you think about it, kinda makes sense. Ben is focused on his personal world. Yeah, he wants to right the wrongs across the entire timeline, but where do you think his loyalties are, especially when Addison is involved in the mix? However, as we get to see Raymond Lee and Caitlin Bassett's chemistry play out on the screen, there's one lurking danger. Ben could very well be creating the future he dreads. The theory comes after the show's episode 6 when Magic visited Martinez. Many wondered if the action changed the course of the soldier's life. Of course, Martinez did look into the quantum leap and become the mysterious future leap after the interaction. Not to mention that Janice had been turned away from the project, but Ben brought her back to the table. So did Ben really create a time loop? We don't know. There are a lot of variables at play at the moment, and we'll only know as more episodes come out. Moving on. Quantum Leap finally answers the original show's oldest mystery. From the moment the first episode aired, there's been one question on everyone's mind. Just what happens to the minds of the people Ben leaps into? Unlike other time travel shows out there, Quantum Leap does something different. As many know, both Sam and Ben leap into a host body and then take over the lives of their unsuspecting victims. However, what happens to the body afterward? If you've been like the hundreds of others who were just itching to know the truth, then congrats. Episode 4 of the series does just that. In one scene, Herbert Magic Williams remembered what it's like to be leaped into. He was supposed to die in combat during the Vietnam War, but Sam changed the timeline by changing into Magic's body at just the right moment. Magic talked about how he experienced a strange feeling. It was like he would stand in front of a door and could choose whether to open it or not. Interested to find out where the experience could take him, Magic made the bold choice to accept the experience. However, afterwards, he simply blacked out. When he woke up from the spell a week later, he learned that he'd just gotten his band out of trouble. It was only years later that Magic was granted access to Quantum Leap's project files. He then faced the shocking revelation of finding his own name in the files. Not only that, but the ex-soldier also discovered his fate had Ben not interfered. Next, the relaunch shed some light on the host's experiences. There were some other theories theorizing that the host's mind jumped into Sam's body. It was quite a popular theory and even hinted at times. However, the theory wasn't developed appropriately. Besides, Magic doesn't remember something unusual about the entire ordeal. As far as he's concerned, he's simply blacked out. Many hosts might think that it's all because of stress and that their minds were simply unable to process the trauma that Sam had to deal with as he inhabited their bodies. Let's take a look at what else Magic's experience tells us. Well, if there's anything to take away from Magic's experience, is that Sam Beckett is the main star of the relaunch. If anyone needed any proof, how about the fact that Magic restarted the Quantum Leap project all to rescue Beckett? The man admitted it himself. Unfortunately for him, he's got two damsels in distress, the second being one Ben, who's out there leaping from body to body. Ben decided to enter the Quantum Leap acceleration case. He was a man on a mission. Regardless, it might be possible that Magic has figured out a high-risk strategy to rescue Sam, perhaps a way that involves him trying to change Sam's own timeline. Like we said before, it's all up in the air at the moment, and we'll only have more answers as time passes. Finally, when will Quantum Leap come back? Of course, the only way we're gonna get more answers is when we get more episodes. The NBC show has been gracing our screen since September of 2022, but with its mid-season finale, the show is heading for a hiatus. We know, guys, huge bummer, but that's just how the industry does business. The last episode aired on November 7th, 2022. Now, you may not be able to catch Ben, Addison, and the rest of the team for the rest of the year, but before you head off to sulk in a corner, how about you hear when the show is returning? Well, your favorite characters will be returning in episode 9 on January 2nd on a Monday. The show will air at its usual 10/9 Central on the channel and will be available on Peacock the next day. Now, the concerning bit is that the episode is titled Saving Addison. Looks like they really turned up the tension with this one. We found out what Ben is up to in the last episode, so it's only fair if we find out how Addison fits into the big puzzle. There are a lot of expectations for episode 9, which is why we just want January 2nd to get here already. Alright, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Quantum Leap mid-season 1 finale? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Bye now!